Good evening. Welcome to the special meeting of the Liquor Control Commission for Monday, August 4th. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Lang?
Here.
Commissioner Kruger?
Here.
Commissioner Heer?
Here.
Commissioner Vogel?
Here.
Commissioner Brady?
Here.
Commissioner Hein?
Here.
Chairperson Argyris?
Here. Thank you. Approval, I entertain a motion to approve the minutes for the special meeting of June 2nd.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Lang, second by Commissioner Heer. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger?
Yes.
Commissioner Heer?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Brady?
Yes.
Commissioner Hein?
Yes.
Chairperson Argyris?
Yes, thank you. 5A, Madam Clerk.
In consideration of a Class L liquor license for Superdog Drive-In Incorporated, DBA Superdog Drive-In, 333 South Milwaukee Avenue, and the event is August 7th, 2014.
Thank you. Manager Svandelis.
Thank you. This was a last-minute request of the Superdog establishment. Essentially, they'd like to do a beer tasting. There will be no sale of beer or any other beverages, and they will not be served in a container larger than 2 ounces. This is a pretty simple event that you can approve this evening for a Class L liquor license, pending a conditional motion for payment of all associated liquor license fees.
Thank you. Questions from the board? Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Lang,
Second.
second by Commissioner Brady. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger?
Yes.
Commissioner Heer?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Brady?
Yes.
Commissioner Hein?
Yes.
Chairperson Argyris?
Yes. 5B.
In consideration of a Class A liquor license for Twin Restaurant Wheeling LLC, DBA Twin Peaks Restaurant, 781 North Milwaukee Avenue, reversion from current Class AV.
Thank you. Manager Svandelis.
Thank you. This is a simple one. Twin Peaks has decided not to pursue video gaming. Therefore, their current license no longer matches their use. So they are simply going back to a Class A versus a Class AV.
Questions?
So moved.
Question from Commissioner
Just have
Vogel.
one. We incur costs to go through this and to prepare to rep that. They're looking for a refund? Is that correct? Are they looking for a refund of the license differential?
The differential,
Are
correct?
we withholding any of that for our costs that we incurred?
No. I don't know if we can. Does that make sense? I don't know that we can because we didn't incur anything specific for this license.
Okay.
So I think we would have to rebate that difference, only the difference though. They still have to pay their Class A license fee.
Okay. In the future, if we do, is there something we can set up? Because, I mean, I can see this happening more often.
I'll investigate that.
Okay. Because we do spend, a lot of staff spends time, et cetera. Thank you.
Okay.
I'll
Anybody
second.
else? Motion by Commissioner Brady, second by Commissioner Vogel. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger?
Yes.
Commissioner Heer?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Brady?
Yes.
Commissioner Hein?
Yes.
Chairperson Argyris?
Yes. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hines, second by Commissioner Brady. Roll call.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger?
Yes.
Commissioner Heer?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Brady?
Yes.
Commissioner Hein?
Yes.
Chairperson Argyris?
Yes. The regular meeting for Monday, August 4th, 2014 is now called to order. Roll call.
Trustee Lang?
Here.
Trustee Kruger?
Present.
Trustee Heer?
Here.
Trustee Vogel?
Here.
Trustee Brady?
Here.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
President Argyris?
Yes. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes for the workshop meeting of July 7th.
So moved.
Motion by
Second.
Trustee Vogel, second by Trustee Kruger. Roll call, please.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Heer?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
President Argyris?
Yes. Citizens' concerns and comments? Oh, changes to the agenda first.
Yes, Mr. President. I'd like to remove 13E from the agenda for this evening.
Okay. Need a motion there? No. Okay. Citizens' concerns and comments?
There are none, President Ardress.
Thank you. Staff reports, Community Development Director Janik. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to say a couple quick words about some of the construction projects we have going on right now. We have 4 major projects that we're doing. I mean, there are some other ones, but these are 4 major construction projects. One is on Meadow Lane. I think you know that we're doing some excavation work on a property that we own on Meadow Lane. So far, the contractor has been doing a good job keeping the streets cleaned, keeping the times when he's supposed to be working, and just in general, abiding by our contract. We have a water main and storm sewer project as well as paving project on Moores Avenue. Also Crescent, Wheeling, and Willie, the very south part of Wheeling and Willie. The storm sewer is in. The curbing has been replaced. Approximately 20% of the curb has been replaced, and the water main is in along with the services. We are now awaiting paving, reconstruction of those roads, about 16 inches of the base, and then a new asphalt. It's going along very well as well. Harmony Village was a paving project, as well as some curb replacement that has just been finished. When I say finished, the paving has been done, the curbing has been done. There is some restoration work to be done landscaping-wise along the edges of the curbing, the streets, but that was finished on Friday. No major problems at all. And the last one is the Mayor Avenue storm sewer project. I'm not sure if any of you have gotten up there. Most of the piping has been delivered on site for the easement that runs east-west along the back of, or to the south of Mayor Avenue. That project has just started approximately 2 weeks ago. Trees have been removed, the easement has been cleared, and the piping has been delivered. And they're going to start digging and installing the pipe tomorrow. Again, there was substantial tree removal in that easement that was taken down and other vegetation. Restoration work will take place afterwards, but it will not look exactly the way it did. There were many large trees in that area, in that easement, which is one of the reasons why the metal pipe that was in the ground did deteriorate relatively quickly. So we're not going to be replacing a substantial number of trees in that easement, but after the project is done, we'll be seeded, and residents will be able to put fencing back in that easement.
I got a question for you. We're not going to be charging permitting fees for those residents to put those fences back, are we?
It's not my intention to do that.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Trustee Brady?
Thank you. Last week there was an article in the paper about water mains nationwide and the severity of the problem with these water mains deteriorating faster than we're replacing them. And we're talking some 300-some-thousand water main breaks a year nationwide. And I'm just wondering, with where we're at now with our program, how many years do we feel that it's going to take for us to get our system totally up to date?
In consultation with the Public Works Director, Mr. Stavros, I believe that if we continue with the amount of water main that we've been replacing over the past 10, 12 years, I think in 6 or 7 years, I think we'll be in a very good place relative to the quality of our water main in our streets. But Tony, would you like to comment on that?
Certainly, if we continue at the pace that we're going right now, $1 million a year, we should be able to make a big dent in it in the next 6 years. There are areas further out that need to be replaced yet that we're not looking at. That's not on the immediate horizon, but we're getting there. I mean, there's stuff in the old part of town that's not earmarked right now, but as it pops up, it moves from year to year. All of a sudden, a whole section will start going bad where we have to shift over like we do on our street program. The whole pipe just decides to go.
Okay, thank you.
I think in general, Trustee Brady, the village, relative to other municipalities in our area, is much more forward thinking relative to our infrastructure, particularly the water main work that we've been doing.
Have we changed our codes to require PVC?
We are installing PVC. We installed PVC last year, and we're installing PVC this year.
Good. Thank you.
Mark, just one thing, the 4 projects that you mentioned, ballpark, an estimate, dollar amount of the reinvestment in the infrastructure in this community for this year alone was how much? Between the streets and the water main and the stormwater and everything?
These 4 projects are probably about $5 million.
It's a good investment back into the community. Good job. Human Services Director Weezer.
Good evening. Thank you, President Argyris. I just want to make a quick announcement. The Wheeling Township is currently collecting school supplies for needy township residents, some of those which are residents of Wheeling. And the Wheeling Pavilion Senior Center is a site to collect them. So if you are interested in donating, we're talking about notebooks and folders, pens, pencils, markers, crayons, things like that. If you are interested in making that donation, you can make that directly to the township, or you can drop that off at the Senior Center at 199 North First Street. We're open 8 to 4, Monday through Friday. And I believe you can call the township at 847-259-7730 to get a list of the things that are needed. The collection, we would like to have our collection done by the 11th of August because they will begin to distribute by the 13th so that children can have the supplies before school starts. If you do have any other questions, you can call our department at 847-459-2606.
Thank you, Sharon. Consent agenda?
All items listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the village board and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member or citizen so requests, to which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered after all other agenda items.
Thank you. Any concerns? Entertain a motion?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Hare, second by trustee Vogel. Roll call.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Hare?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
President Argyris?
Yes, thank you. 13A?
Oh, ordinance authorizing a redevelopment agreement between the Village of Wheeling and WTC LLC for the development of land at 351 West Dundee Road, Wheeling, Illinois, compromising a part of the Town Center 2 TIF district of the Village of Wheeling, Cook and Lake Counties, Illinois.
Thank you. Manager Svandos.
Thank you. We are happy this evening to present an RDA, a redevelopment agreement, as addressed in the title for what we commonly refer to as the Old Wicks property. This has been a long time coming, a good amount of negotiation and project changes in order to get us to the point this evening where you can consider a formal agreement. As everyone should be aware, we're talking about 300 luxury apartments, a movie theater, a restaurant, and retail uses, etc. Before we hand the floor over to Mr. Friedman, we're going to have a brief outline of the RDA from Attorney Maluzzi.
Thank you. So, as we said, this is the development at the Old Wicks site. Through the redevelopment agreement, the village has agreed to pledge $8.6 million in TIF increment generated by the project to the developer. The developer has made a case that but for the TIF incentive, this project would not be built. The incentive is payable only from pins on the site and only payable from the increment generated on that site. As said before, the plan is to construct a 300-unit luxury apartment building, movie theater concept, and 95,000 square feet of additional retail space. The development will be completed in 4 phases. The first phase of that development must be built includes the infrastructure, road system, apartment building, and theater. The RDA has a land development expected to begin in August of 2015, with construction beginning on the apartment building in April of 2016, completed by April of 2017. The completion of the theater and the Village Green is scheduled to occur no later than January of 2017, and the balance of the development is scheduled to be completed no later than July of 2018. And the developer is here to answer any questions.
Got anything to say, Brett?
I didn't really
plan to give a presentation. I know most of you are very familiar with the project. If there were any specific questions that I could address at this time, I'd be happy to address those, and if need be, use some of the material from the former presentation to go over any site plans or questions.
Okay, before I open up any questions to the trustees, there is one thing that I have a problem with, which is section 5.4 regarding prohibited uses. It's always been the policy of this village that prohibited uses can be overturned by the village board. You have verbiage in here where it's the village manager. That's unacceptable. It's got to be by the village board. Okay, I don't want to set a new precedent here regarding other RDAs that we got out there, so that change needs to be
Yes.
noted. And then I'll open it up for questions to the board. Anybody? Trustee Kruger?
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a very simple question. I've always known you to be Urban R2, and the RDA is written to WTC LLC. Why is that?
We formed a partnership with the Goldstein family. They are based out of New York, and every time we do a project, even for our Catalyst project, the entity that was created was a joint venture between Urban R2 and Marquette, and the entity docs, I think, read Chicago Properties 1 LLC, just a formality to make sure that all the pieces are in place from an organizational standpoint. But the WTC LLC is a joint venture between Urban R2 Development and the Goldstein Family Partnership. So I will still be the face and the point person and the project manager.
Sounds like that's a pretty standard practice then, debate based on projects
Yes.
within an organization. Great, thank you very much.
No problem, no problem.
Trustee Vogel?
Just one question. Part of the reverter provision where the land will be transferred back to the village, section 6.3. Can you explain our obligations if we decide that they haven't met the terms of the agreement and the land's going to be bought back? What expenses or costs that they paid are we responsible for?
So we would, under the option of the reverter, we'd be able to repurchase the property for the amount that the developer paid for it, which is the $1. And then also, if we choose, it would be any amount necessary to repay all project financing obligations that they would have incurred. And this is typical. We did this similar language with the hotel. It's so that the developer can get financing, that the collateral wouldn't be lost due to a default with the RDA. So it's standard language. So if we chose to buy it back, if there's already been financing committed, we would agree to assume those as well. But I think...
Assume financing costs, but the original, I mean, if they, I guess that sounds open-ended to me. Is there a cap as to the amount we would pay?
It's whatever would be to...
Do you want me to step in?
Yeah, go ahead if you...
Okay. The idea is that if we start construction,
right,
and we have a construction loan, let's call it $40 million, before you buy the land, you have to pay the construction loan off. So any financing, any that was put in place has to be paid off.
Any part of that 40 million that's been drawn on that?
Correct.
Okay. So it's
Or for any other, I mean, I was just using the residential building as an
Right.
example, but obviously it's a very complex structure here. There's a lot of buildings, so any financing that was taken out for any portion of the project.
okay. So it's a little more complicated than just the financing. It explains somewhere's in there, behind there, limits our liability to the amounts either drawn or the amount of interest owed. I mean, what I'm getting at is they have a $40 million construction loan. We're not responsible for a $40 million construction loan. TIF is not, or anybody else, or the village in any way, shape, or form.
Right, it'd be how we described
Okay.
it as far as what's been
All
going
right.
on.
All right, thank you.
Trustee Brady?
Thank you. Phase 1 is going to include the residential building and the theater.
That's correct, yes.
And Phase 2 is get into the retail?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. You know, the stage is kind of set on the theme of the shopping area there, with the theater going to be going in, that it'd be a good venue for entertainment type retail, good restaurants, sport bars, or the sort of theme bars. And without an anchor of being an area for shopping type of retail, what are your plans for that? I know you have to have a certain percentage signed up before you can proceed with phase 2, if I'm not mistaken, in the RDA. What are your plans for this retail area?
Most of the LOIs and the interest has been from restaurants, entertainment venues. I mean, there has been, very few outside of that realm, daycare facilities, but the traditional shopping that you are speaking of, like a women's clothing shopping, is probably going to be, more difficult to fill. This is, not a clothing sort of town center.
Exactly.
Really the idea, the plan is more along the lines of the restaurants, the entertainment. There are other uses that we would like to bring in that would also help some of the daytime traffic, whether that be, a bike shop, a deli, or a daycare facility, or if we can get, a Trader Joe's, or some sort of, boutique grocer, that's our goal.
Well, being transit oriented, you'll have the people getting on and off the train. Plus, with the residential, you have cleaners and like you said, a mom and pop grocery store would fit well in that there. But beyond that, I'm wondering. I just want to see it. You got how much with the theater? How much retail are you going to have left in the way of square footage without the theater?
After the theater, we'll probably have somewhere around 60,000 square feet.
Well, that's a lot of space. A couple good restaurants will fill it up pretty good. I just, at some point you're going to be in here talking to us about it, and if there's any uncertainty on the success of that, we'd be willing to talk whatever it's going to be to make this a success. So,
thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yes.
Trustee Hank?
You want to go first?
Did you? Well, I just wanted to mention a couple things real quick.
All right.
That's okay. Well, go ahead, please.
All right, thank you. In the term sheet that was prepared last August 2013, which is usually the guideline for putting together the final document that we're looking at tonight, there were a number of different retailers that had given letters of intent. One being the brew house, of course, you have a letter of intent from them, correct?
Yeah, we've already started the lease negotiations with Flicks.
Okay, and Kiefer Steakhouse?
That's correct.
You have a letter of intent from Kiefer Steakhouse?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. And Rizza Mediterranean Restaurant?
Yes, it's Reza's.
You have that letter of intent?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. And the Children of America Daycare?
Yes.
Okay, all the ones that were on that list, Ren Mango, you have it?
Yes.
They're on board? Subway sandwiches?
Yes, but I'm not sure if the board wants that use.
Yeah, we've got 3 right now.
So.
Okay. Dunkin' Donut?
Yes, but there was another Dunkin' Donuts that opened up, so there might be some franchising issues. At this time, we're pursuing Starbucks, and they have put in a letter of intent for the outlot, and we are starting lease negotiations with them as well.
Okay. Also in this term sheet, it showed Marquette Companies as being your partner. They're no longer involved?
That's correct, yes.
They're not going to be involved in the leasing or anything like that? Or
It's possible that they get involved in the property management, but they didn't want to take on the guarantees of the theater component.
Okay. We had a a list of items that we had on there that we did not want to have in that particular shopping center. If something should come up like that, I agree with, that we should have, the board should have the right to do that.
That's fine. I think
Okay.
Jim Ferrolo prepared the language regarding village manager discretion. I'm fine with coming and getting board approval on any use that doesn't fit into the, approval.
Mid-rise, this is a mid-rise building, you're putting up the apartment building. How many stories is that?
5 stories.
How many, 5?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Question for the attorney or for Mr. Fondelis. If there were to be a default in the construction of this project, i.e. the apartment building, and there was monies that were owed to the by the senior lender, would we be responsible for the liens that were put on the property before we would get it back?
Before we purchased it back, or, I mean...
Well, if the village was put in harm's way and we had to take it back, we being the grantor, for $1, and there were liens on the property, and the senior lender would like to have those paid because he paid them out, and before he would release that back to us, there's different stages where it goes through, where it comes back to us. According to what I read, and I want a clarification on it, in this agreement that we did in August, it says that we would be responsible for paying back the lien to the senior lender.
I believe that's what we were discussing earlier. If we chose to exercise the reverter clause, it'd be the payment of the $1 and the financing that had been drawn out on if we wanted to take it back. So depending on what kind of financing there was in order to satisfy the obligations.
What other options will we have?
Sell the project.
Yeah, taking it back.
Well, those are your two options.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm a little confused on if there's an insurmountable amount of liens on the property and we have to, and the monies were paid out and so on and so forth, we wouldn't be actually involved in it until they're actually going to be leasing it out. Is that correct? What I'm trying to get at is I'm trying to see where our obligation is as far as paying back the debt.
It would have to be once we exercised, if we chose to buy back the property. So, we have that option to repurchase under the reverter clause. And so we would have to choose to do that. Otherwise, I believe that the lender could go through the normal foreclosure proceeding on the property and we wouldn't have any obligation under it. It's only if we chose to buy back the property.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Brad, I'm going to cut to the chase real quick here.
Sure.
Your timeline regarding construction, and I understand that, but I'd like to get a commitment and a timeline on when you plan on going before the Plan Commission and where your site plans are and everything else. I don't want to wait 2 years. I don't want to wait a year. It's been long enough. What can I expect in the future, in the near future, to get this thing done?
I have my team of geotechnical engineers, civil engineers, and architects and landscape designers that are all waiting for my phone call tomorrow morning, so we can start to get to work and go through the PUD process. I've been wanting to go through the PUD process for a long time now. There was a point when we were going to go down parallel paths. We were going to do the RDA simultaneously with the PUD, and then, that was decided not to pursue that parallel path option. In short, we have a site plan, conceptual site plan that has already received conceptual approval for most of the Planning Commission board members. And we plan on attacking that PUD preliminary process very aggressively. All the team members have already reviewed all the items on the list. We've already met with Andrew Jennings several times, and I know Keith McIsaac, Fire Chief Keith McIsaac, has already looked at the plan and made some comments, and all of those suggestions have been taken in to consideration and have been made. So we feel like we are going to hit the ground running. As far as I know, going through the preliminary and final PUD process is probably about 3 months. Once we have the land fully entitled, we'll be able to obtain financial commitments, and our hope is to break ground in the spring.
Okay. What I would like to ask from staff is that we are kept up to speed with what's going on here, whether it be monthly, bi-weekly, I don't care. But we need to know the process, the communication, and where this development is going. We have a one-shot opportunity here to do something here with with you guys, and you've been around for a long time now, and timing's everything. Because if we're wasting our time, then we need to move on. But the commitment is on your shoulders now, and we need to move forward. Any other questions? Trustee Brady?
One last one. Have you settled on an architectural theme or design for this building?
Well, the residential component, I mean, you're talking about the specifics in terms of like the materials used and whatnot?
Materials, just the design, and either modern or contemporary.
Oh, I got you. Yes. No, it's not going to be modern. It is going to, preserve the antique charm. We want to do something really special with, the green, the village green, the landscaping, entrance. The buildings are going to be tasteful. I mean, I had the pleasure of meeting Pam at the golf outing, and, I was showing her pictures on my phone of, other town centers that I have been visiting where I saw architectural elements that I thought were very attractive, worth pursuing, and we're all on the same page. From putting together a tasteful project.
Through these last couple of decades, we've been asking for some features on the building instead of just a plain glass and brick. And I tell you, very inexpensively, you can do a lot with a little, just to bring a little pizzazz or whatever you want to just bring the building into a more of a even a little Frank Lloyd Wright.
I love Frank Lloyd. Here, these were some photos that I took to try and inspire of other town centers that I thought were working well. This one in particular, this is Solaris in Vail, and I know we're not in Vail, Colorado, with the mountains, but the architecture here is something that I'm trying to emulate. If that gives you an idea for anything, and then, well, this was for a different purpose, but when I meet with my architects, when we start going through the elevations, when we start picking out the materials, this is the style that we want to come up with. So if that
especially
helps.
on the looks like there's an awful lot of glass on the buildings there.
There is going to be glass, but it is going to be mixed in with facade elements. At the end of the day, the glass does serve as a very green component to a residential building.
People like a lot of glass.
Well, it's all. It's self-heating in the summertime, and so there's a lot of benefits to it. But it's not going to be some modern structure that is out of place. That's not what we're after.
Okay,
so.
good. Thank you.
No problem.
Anybody else? Entertain a motion with the change?
Yeah, so the motion
15.4.
would be the motion to approve with the following condition, that section 5.4 is amended to read that any such decision to allow a prohibited use shall be made by the village board.
Thank you. Entertain a motion?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Vogel,
Second?
second by trustee Kruger. Roll call, please.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Heer?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
President Juris?
Yes. Thank you, gentlemen. Good luck. 13B.
Ordinance granting special use approval for a home daycare facility at 1284 Derby Street, docket number 2014-12.
Thank you. Director Janik, I believe there's conditions with this ordinance as well.
Yes, there are three conditions. This is a proposal for a daycare center or daycare at a single-family house just north of Palatine Road and just east of Elmhurst Road in the Polo Run subdivision. The three conditions are, number one, that the petitioner complete the modifications as described in the fire department memorandum dated July 2nd, 2014. Number two, that the home daycare provide parents with a sheet indicating the additional expectations for drop-off and pickup activity. For instance, no sounding of horns, no use of neighbor's driveway, and maintaining safe speed in the neighborhood. And number three, that the existing fence may remain in its existing height and style, providing that it is maintained in good condition, and that the petitioner provide protection to prevent children from reaching through the fence by November 15th, 2014.
Thank you. Good evening. You
Hi.
state your name, please.
Tina Style.
Thanks, Tina. Questions from the board?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Brady,
Second.
second by trustee Vogel. Roll call.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Heer?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
President Juris?
Yes. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. 13C.
Resolution accepting a bid and approving a contract with City Construction Company for the 2014 water main replacement program.
Thank you. Director Janik.
Thank you. This is a CIP project for water main replacement, both on Wolf Road and in the subdivision on the south side of Dundee Road, Hollywood Ridge. We received 7 bids. The winning bid was $1.05 million. It was by the same company that's doing water main work in our village right now, over in the Morris Avenue area, and they also did work for us last year. It's a very reputable company. We have very few issues with them, and this is a proposal for the board, hopefully, to approve.
Thank you. Questions? I have one. Regarding traffic communication out there, Mark, I said it before, I'm going to say it again with these projects. What's our game plan out there to get the message out there? We started off with Moore's. It started off a little shaky because of traffic concerns. Trustee here can attest to that.
They really haven't changed anything over there. I just don't say anything anymore. I mean, they do have signs up, but there's nobody directing
We
traffic.
got to get better with that.
And I'm telling you, I mean, I've had it. I mean, I'll be honest with you, Mark. Go over there during the daytime.
I'm there all the time.
Oh, really, you are? Okay.
I am there every single day.
Call me on the phone when you're over there, and I'll come over there.
I mean, look, this is construction work. This is complicated construction work. We're
We just
replacing
heard what
water
he
mains.
said. It's just seriously, I don't want to debate it in public with you, but just do what he asked. Have signage if a road's closed, divert them another way, divert them another way.
That's all.
Have somebody there, that's all he's asking. Be people-friendly and move on. And hopefully it's not the same engineer you hired for that project. Thank you.
We have received very few complaints relative to the Moores Avenue project, just so the board knows.
And a staging area for that area? Is there going to be a staging area? Like you have over on Moore's?
Well, the Moores Avenue staging area that is for the paving that takes place.
Okay.
We don't need a staging area like leaf for grindings to do road constructions, because we're not doing road construction. This is strictly a water main project. Now, there's going to be patching of the street, of course, but we don't need to bring in additional grindings for that.
Just, again, you know what? Regarding dust, regarding traffic, regarding the quality of life there for the next couple, 2-3 weeks, whatever it takes to do this, we need to be conscious of that.
We are trying as best we can.
Please, that's all I ask. Any other questions from the board? Entertain a motion?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Lang, second by trustee Vogel. Roll call.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Heer?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
President Juris?
Yes. 13D.
Resolution accepting a bid and approving a contract with Schroeder & Schroeder Incorporated for the new sidewalk construction program.
Thank you. Director Janik.
This is a sidewalk project. One piece of sidewalk is being installed on Northgate Parkway, and another one is being located, there's an image here, this is the intersection of Wolf Road and Milwaukee Avenue. There's a piece of sidewalk that needs to extend south from the Ram restaurant to the intersection, and then south along Wolf Road to Wolf Court. At the same time, there's going to be a pedestrian signal located at this intersection to allow people to cross from Wolf Road across east and west to the Weston. That's one of the requirements for IDOT. If there's sidewalk being done at an intersection, pedestrian signals are required.
Okay. Questions? Trustee Brady?
Is this a 10-foot or 8-foot sidewalk on Northgate?
Northgate is, I believe that's a 5-foot wide sidewalk, because on the east side, we have a 7-foot sidewalk.
Okay. So that is going to be our combination bike pedestrian path then?
One second.
7 feet on the, 7 feet on the east side. 8 feet, right now.
I'm sorry, I believe it's an 8-foot walk on the east side that goes all the way to Lake Cook. This is on the west side. There's an existing 5-foot sidewalk, and so we're doing a 5-foot sidewalk on the west side. So we do have an existing 8-foot on the east side, and this is a piece to connect to our 5-foot sidewalk.
Is there any plans to continue the 8-foot on the west side to Dundee at any time?
Well, the 8-foot walk on the east side extends all the way down Northgate Parkway from Lake Cook Road down to Dundee.
It's 8 foot all the way?
I believe so.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you. Just want to make sure we get a walk down there that can be, designated as a bike pedestrian way.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Brady,
Second?
second by trustee Hein. Roll call.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Heer?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
President Juris?
Yes. 13E is tabled.
No, it's, yeah, pulled.
tabled.
Yeah. 13F,
Go ahead.
resolution authorizing the village president clerk to execute an easement agreement with Arbor 4 LLC for an electric communication, gas, water, storm, sanitary, and drainage easement at 100, 160, 162, 164, 190 Arbor Court and 1224 36 Wheeling Avenue.
Thank you. Director Janik.
Thank you. This is the last easement that we need to acquire to allow the streetlights on Dundee Road to be installed. As you know, we've talked about this before, there's a streetlight project that's going to extend from Milwaukee Avenue west to the train tracks. And then it's going to continue from the train tracks farther west as a phase 2. This easement was obtained on the south side of Dundee Road in front of Arbor Court Apartments, and it was the last piece that we needed to install streetlights on. Currently, we're waiting, hopefully in January, for IDOT to bid this project out. In the interim, they are going to be doing soil testing where the streetlights are going to be located to make sure there are no toxic soils.
Thank you. Questions from the board? Trustee Brady?
Is this mean the sidewalk's going to move back
No.
away from Dundee Road?
This is strictly an easement. Arbor Court property in this area never dedicated land to the state of Illinois, and so we needed to get an easement to put the streetlights in this section. This has nothing to do with moving a sidewalk.
I wish we would have gotten a 10-foot easement, then we could move that side, to get rid of that carriage walk along there as part of it.
Yep.
At some point, we have to start thinking about that. All right, thank you.
I have a question. By acquiring these easements, does it allow us to possibly one day do the crosswalk in that area there?
We do have some information relative to the crosswalk that I think we're going to be talking about at a future meeting. But we do have data relative to the crosswalks and where possibly it could be.
All right. Any other questions from the board?
That meeting will be the 4th meeting of August.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Entertain a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by trustee Lang, second by trustee Vogel. Roll call.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Heer?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
President Juris?
Yes, thank you. 13G.
Ordinance authorizing the sale by public auction of personal property owned by the Village of Wheeling.
Director Stavros.
Thank you. This is an auction, we're doing an on-live auction with Gov Deals, and this is for surplus equipment that we currently have. This is for vehicles such as squad cars and trucks that have been replaced, and we've used them before in the past. We find them to be the most efficient way to dispose of the equipment at the greatest dollar return for our dollar.
Questions? Entertain a motion?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Lang,
Second?
second by trustee Kruger. Roll call.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Hare?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
President Argyros.
Yes. 13H.
Discussion regarding concept review of proposed supportive living facility at 501 West Dundee Road.
Thank you. Managers Fondos.
Thank you. I believe the petitioners are approaching the podium. As they do, I will remind the board that this is an informal discussion, concept review to discuss a proposed 100-unit living facility at the northeast corner of Northgate and Dundee Road. The reason it's coming before you as a concept review is because a residential building at that location does fall outside the approved town center plan, which recommends commercial use at that site. So we thought it appropriate to bring to the board to see if the board agrees that they would like to move forward with a residential unit at that location. With that, I guess I'll turn it over.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. My name is Bernard Citron with the law firm of Thompson Coburn. It's a pleasure to be before you today, and we thank you for your time and consideration. I'm here today representing Barron Development in Heritage Woods. We're talking, and just let me make this clear, of not building on the entire site, but our proposals for a portion of the site at the northwest corner of Northgate and Dundee. With me today is Mr. Stephen Barron, who is one of the principals there, who has developed a number of these facilities. With him today is Mr. Rick Bannis and Mr. Rod Burkett of BMA Management, who manage probably the bulk of SLF SLIFs in the state of Illinois, and also Bill Warren, our architect. Let me just take a moment before I turn it over to some people to talk a little bit about this project. What we are proposing here is a SLIF, a supportive living facility. I can categorically tell you that you have hundreds, literally hundreds of residents in your town alone that could utilize this facility. This is supportive living. You're familiar with it as assisted living facilities, of which we will tell you don't need any more. Assisted living facilities, the market rate facilities, there's more than enough in this area. But think about it. Those type of facilities run $5,000, $6,000 a month to be here. Think about your own parents. It would be difficult for many of them. It would be difficult for me. My parents just live down the road to be in one of those facilities. The difference is on a supportive living facility, the main difference is they are supported by Medicare. So you can go into this on Medicare, and that is what a lot of seniors need, is the ability to find a place to live that will not basically bankrupt them and their families. And I can categorically tell you everyone in this room has either a family member or knows someone who this facility would serve. These are wonderful facilities. There's not a downgrade in how the people are cared for. There's not a downgrade in food. There's not a downgrade in anything else. But it's a different model. It's one of the most successful models that the state of Illinois has done. Now, there was a license up in the Lake County area, and it would be our proposal to move this license here, because Lake County, it turned out, didn't have the same needs that Northern Cook County has. And we say needs, well, either Rick or Rod talk about this, but there's an absolute need in your community and the surrounding communities for these type of facilities. We're talking about 99 beds. 99 rooms here. Some of the rooms are single, some of them are double. These are for the frail elderly. Average age, depending on what study you're looking for, is anywhere from 78 to 81. And these are for people who need help in one or more daily activities. This is not a nursing home. They do not provide medical care. These are not people who are sick. Maybe they need reminders for their medication. Maybe they need help with housekeeping. Those are the type of things that this is. This is not a place where they provide medical care, nor can it be. The question I'm always asked is, well, what happens in the future? Their license does not permit people to stay there if they need full-blown nursing care. That's the difference here. So that is not something that the municipality ultimately has to worry about. Now, this is a residential site. I know your comprehensive plan calls for this to be commercial. What we've done is move the property, and I don't know how you turn this. I apologize, John, how you get to the other pictures on this.
There should be a mouse.
Here's on your, right there.
Okay.
There you go.
So what do I hit to turn it?
Just hit it.
Ah, there we go. You know the site, and you can see general what we're talking about here. We've pushed it to the northern part of the site to leave a commercial possibility along the hard frontage along Northgate and Dundee, which would be immediately across from the development that you just approved. The site, as pointed out, is MXT, which in general is mixed-use development, and ultimately that's what we would see on this property. Now, we're not buying the remainder of the site. It would be our proposal to only purchase the property that we're going on. You can see everybody's familiar with the site now. And this is the proposed site. Building up against the, in an urban style, up against the road. Leaving a lot of open space around it, and then the possibility of commercial on the remainder. Now, why we think this is an advantage, one, this site, as everybody is aware, has been vacant for some time. There has been other developments proposed for this property that have not gone forward. We see this as a possibility to sort of spur development on this site. We'd be creating a lot of the infrastructure that would be needed to kickstart the development of this site. It may not be the perfect use. I mean, people would like to see this entire site developed with commercial, but you've just approved a huge commercial development to the south. So this would be a way to kickstart this site while the other one is also going forward. One of the things that should be noted is that we are not asking for any financial assistance from the village. I know that you've just approved a redevelopment agreement with the people on the south. I know a redevelopment agreement was just approved for the Riva development to the north. This is entirely financed by our team. We're not seeking financial assistance in the form of TIF from the development, and this is not a not-for-profit. This is a for-profit entity, so we do pay real estate taxes into your TIF. That's not would be the reason to just approve this, but we're trying to show you that there aren't many negatives. Now, one of the issues that we know we have heard before is the incidence of ambulance usage for these type of facilities. And we understand that because there's a difference between what it costs you, your fire department, to roll an ambulance, and what it costs, what Medicaid will pay for that. And we'd be willing to sit down if this project moved forward, or not willing, but we will sit down if this project moves forward, to work out something that would be fair financially to the village to make up some of that difference. Because we recognize that it does cost you, that these facilities come with a cost. The flip side is it doesn't come with a lot of other costs. Unlike a standard residential facility, and I'm not criticizing what you're doing to the north, it's a great project, the Riva project, but residences do cost municipalities some money. We are self-contained. Other than that one aspect, we are self-contained. We provide food service. We do provide employment for the community. It's what, about 40 or 50? 50 jobs in your community. We hire from your community. It's 50 jobs just once this is built. During the type of construction, there's well over 100-something jobs within your community. So there's a lot of advantages to this. Now, the other thing that we've heard is, well, we already have these type of facilities. Again, I started to talk to you about the difference between assisted living facilities market rate and our facility. So there are a number of market rate facilities. I know up the road in Vernon Hills, there's a number of them. They're great facilities. I'm not criticizing them at all, but they are just too costly for the bulk of people who need them. In fact, that's why there's too many of them. The other, I know you have a facility either here or going in, Autumn Leaves. That is a memory care facility that is solely for people who have dementia or Alzheimer's. It's an absolutely wonderful facility. It needs to be there, but it covers a different percentage of the people who need this, of the seniors who need this. So that's the main difference, is we would not provide that care here. Unfortunately, if people reach that point, they would have to, again, move out of this facility. We don't like to do this. We don't talk about that much, about, well, you're disrupting people. But through the years, when I've represented, we used to do the old congregate care facilities, which were supposedly independent elderly who ultimately aged in place, and you ended up with an institutional type facility there. We're very careful now. The state is very careful now. This is state licensed, so everything is under their auspices. With that, I'd like to, I don't know if it's going to be Rick or Rod, talk just a little bit about just the market in this area, and you can fill in for what I didn't mention. Rod? Sure.
Good evening. My name is Rod Burkett. I'm president of BMA Management. And as Mr. Citron had said, we manage 36 similar properties across the state, with about 14 in the greater Chicagoland area. And as he pointed out, we would feel that in almost any market that we do analysis in, probably 2/3 of seniors by the time you reach your 80s do not have the nest egg or the disposable income to be paying $4,000 or higher per month when assisted living is needed. So this is a great safety net. It's a great program where we see that 2/3 of seniors really would have to leave this community or would not be able to afford it, and possibly be moved into a nursing home way earlier than would be necessary, causing all taxpayers more dollars. We feel this market would support somewhere north of 140 apartments based on our analysis, and feel the 99 unit property would be well sized and well suited for this market.
Thank you. Bill, do you want to talk a little bit? Again, that is the key here. Is it's meeting a market need that exists today. It's not a prospective market need. These people are living in a community today. Next, I'd like Bill Warren to step forward and talk a little bit more about the site plan and the architecture. Bill has designed a number of these facilities for Mr. Barron and this group before, so he's well versed with this, and I think you'd be pleased with what he's showing you, Bill.
Good evening. My name is Bill Warren. I'm president of Warren Jerebeck Architects in Chicago. I just very briefly want to show you what we have planned to date. The proposed site plan shows 66 parking spaces currently. At maximum rate, there'll be 22 used for employees, with a large green space in the back of the project. That's an important principle for this development team. I'll show you how we've achieved that elsewhere. It's very important for this age group to have access to nature and to be able to get outside regularly. And that's an important part of this development. I won't read this for you. Some quick numbers for you. The floor area ratio we're shooting for is around 0.6. As has been discussed, this is a licensed facility under the Illinois Department of Health Care and Family Services. I'll end with just a discussion briefly of some imagery and the architectural elements that we're proposing. This is a 3-story building. The roof structure, the average height, the mean height of the roof structure, 39 feet. It's a very residentially scaled building. The elements are all residential in nature. The building is clad in brick, stone, and hardy plank and hardy board. These are 2 shots from similar facilities. The lower shot from a project in Gurnee, the upper shot from a project in Decatur. Our intent is to create as home-like an interior as we can, while still maintaining opportunities for seniors to socialize outside of their units, and also, very importantly, to have direct access to nature and walking trails, gazebos, etc. That access to daylight is very important as we age. So I thank you all, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you. As Bill just talked about, probably the nearest facility to here is in Gurnee. It is open. If this moves forward, we would invite anybody to walk through that facility. It is 100% occupied. There was another facility, not by this team, but by a different team that was built in Vernon Hills, and that's almost entirely occupied. That shows you the need that there currently is. With that, our team is here to answer any questions or receive any comments that the board would have on this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm going to start with Trustee Lang.
Thank you. You know, very interesting concept. I'm just not sure that this location is the right location for it. We, you know, with it being so close to the train and all our focus on transit in that area, it seems like it's just not the right location. That's one thing. The other is the fact that you know, I'd rather see one developer on the entire lot as opposed to multiple. I think there'll be more options than the overall for that piece of property, given the flood limitations of it, if there was one developer to the site as opposed to multiple. So, you know, I like the concept. Can we put it in another location in the village? I'd like to explore that. If it works, but for this particular location, I would probably not lean towards that. Thank you.
Trustee Vogel?
I agree with Trustee Lang. Again, it's the location. Again, the whole idea of the next to the railroad there, the metro station, is really for people that are going to use that. And the way this is stated, it looks like not too many of these people would be using the train too often. So again, I love the pictures. I love the idea. I know the need is there. You know, my own mother moved in not too long ago, and she loves it. Place, and it's a need, but again, the location is not right. Again, maybe work with staff, and there are other locations in the village that are available.
Trustee Hein?
Thank you. You mentioned that this was going to be a more affordable. What type of numbers are you looking at?
Well, first of all, a large percentage of the residents, it would be paid for by Medicaid. Excuse me, Medicare. Medicaid. I'm sorry, Steve. Maybe this is Steve Barrett.
My mother.
Hi, Steve.
Good evening. The state of Illinois years ago, in the mid-'80s, realized a need for folks who couldn't afford the $4,000 and $5,000 a month. What the state was doing under the Medicaid program was that the state was putting these folks into skilled care nursing homes. Now, as we all know, skilled care is invasive medications, IV bags hanging, sitting in people's arms, double occupancy. And the state realized that that wasn't a quality of living. And so because of that, myself and 6 or 7 other people, including Rod, went down to the state of Illinois, met with politicians there, and discussed with them the idea of starting a whole new program. The program was called Supportive Living Facilities. Currently, there's 131 supportive living facilities in the state of Illinois. There's 100 counties, maybe 101, I might fumble that a bit, but I think about 100 counties in the state of Illinois. So that means that there's a number of counties that still are not represented. You're a city that's not represented. I own one in Decatur. I own one in the city of McHenry, Mayor Lau. I own one in the city of Gurnee, Mayor Kovarik. And they have been able to keep their residents there because the question was asked, what's the pricing? The pricing goes from $5,000 to $4,000 to $2,800 a month. And the $2,800 is subsidized by the state of Illinois' Medicaid program, of which 51% is subsidized by the federal government. So Governor Quinn and even Governor Rauner, who I've spoke to, candidate Rauner, who and I've spoken to both, are both proponents of the SLIF program. And so to answer the question very simply, what we do is we take citizens of Wheeling who can't afford 5, can't afford 3, can't afford anything, and they pay their supplemental Social Security to the facility, and then the facility gets a license from the state of Illinois, and the facility gets paid by the state of Illinois and now managed care, of which 50% is paid by the federal government.
Thank you.
And that's the upside to the program. And if I may say one other thing, I did actually see 2 other sites that I loved because I'm willing to build up sites and get out of a floodplain. I'm willing to deal with the park district. I'm willing to work out whatever needs to be worked out. And there were a couple other sites that I looked at. It wasn't accepted at that moment, but I would love to discuss with the village those other few sites. One was at Jeffrey in Milwaukee, and I think it would be a fantastic site for this kind of project. So,
I like the project. I like the concept. I think there's a need for it. Affordable is a good word. There's a lot of folks that need that. They're relying on Medicare, Medicaid for that. But I have to agree with my colleagues that the site you picked out across the way here is, I think would be, there are more conducive sites in the village where your residents might be a little more happier, so.
we'd love to come and talk to you.
Thank you.
Trustee here?
Thank you. Again, I won't repeat everything they said at the other end. I concur with what they've said. I think the site is wrong, but I encourage you to explore other sites.
Trustee Kruger?
Thank you. Hi. I like the concept too. I think the home-like interior is very lovely. I just, like my colleagues, I think what we envision for that site is a lot more hustly-bustly than the age group that you're gearing towards. But would love for you to explore, bringing this to another area of town.
Trustee Brady?
Thank you. Well, pretty much agree with everything everybody said, and I too would prefer that site be developed all at once, because you build this, I think you'd be hard pressed to sell what's left to a retailer of any sort, and basically, we talk about our zoning, but there is an overlay in this area, transit oriented, and I don't think your residents are going to be taking the train too often. We were trying to build what would be acceptable to young professionals who want to rent or live close to the train station, or take the train, or live close to town. We're not building a downtown, we're building a town center. We're trying to accumulate all the governmental things right here in the town, in the center, where people can go out for a walk and just about take care of anything they need. This is a very good project. The only other thing I say, you say this for Village of Wheeling's people, when they built the 200 building back in the 70s or whenever it was, the county, or they said this is all for Wheeling's people. Well, if you're taking Social Security, you have no choice of who you put in there. And I think we've got, out of, I don't know how many beds there or rooms there are in that building, I don't think there's hardly any left from the Village of Wheeling. They're from all over the place. But, nevertheless, people still need this. Now, what can I ask you, just because I know you'll be back with another site, what makes this, I know you explained it, but I still didn't get the difference between assisted living and what you guys do.
So we're actually licensed by the state. We're supported by the state. We're supported by the Illinois Housing, not finance, but Development Authority. And so what happens is we're licensed to be able to accept Medicaid from these folks. So these folks, they're out of pocket. They may be paid supplemental Social Security of, say, $500 a month, as an example. They turn $440 of it over to us. We give them $60 for Walgreens or incidentals, and the state then comes in and pays the other $2,500, and the federal government matches it. And so these folks in your community, in Wheeling, who sell their home, maybe they sell a home for $250,000, they have a $150,000 mortgage, that's reasonable. They go through that $100,000 and $5,000 a month facilities in a year. And then where do they go? So they go to our facility.
What's going to guarantee that they're going to end up in your building?
Well, because when they run out of money, they would apply for Medicaid. And generally, they're accepted to the Medicaid program. And the state would rather see them in a supportive living facility than a skilled care, because skilled care is $200 a night, and ours is $96 a night. And so That's why the supported living facility program works.
Supported living, at what point do these people become, let's say, a little bit worse, that need more than I know what the supporting is. Do you give them their meals? Do you wash their clothes? Do you vacuum for them?
Yes.
Do you give medicine every day?
No, we are not licensed to actually administer. We can make sure that they're reminded about their medicines, but when their ADLs, their activities of daily living, rise to the point where there's actually a score that is given to them, where they cannot deal with more than, say, 3 activities of daily living. They may be incontinent, they may not be ambulatory, we deal with that. But when they get to a point where they need invasive medications, where they need these types of things, then they have to graduate to skilled care. Okay. And then it costs you and me, the taxpayer, $200 a night.
So they have to move out of yours
and move into skilled care, exactly. So you do not have an SLF, a SLIF. Gurnee does, McHenry does, certain cities do, certain cities don't, you don't yet. But we are a completely different animal than assisted care, and we're a completely different animal, totally different animal than memory care, dementia-oriented facilities. We're for folks who are frail elderly and do not have the means to afford to live with dignity. And then they can move into our place and live with dignity.
You know, I think any community around here you can see has probably a lot of needs like this. And people are living a long time, you know, living past the point where they can take care of themselves. What are they going to do?
Yeah, it's a predicament.
Right, well,
this is a good start.
I have to say
folks
no.
who get to the point where
I have to say no for this site for several reasons, but you know, I'm not objectionable to what you guys do. So, you know,
yeah, we'd love to work with you guys. We'd love to work with you guys, and we appreciate your comments tonight as well.
We will be back. We're going to hopefully find another site in your town. It's been pretty much, we hear the conversation that's being, we appreciate the kind comments on this. We're not making this up. I mean, I think, as I said before, I mean, think my own parents live down the block from here, you know, on Dundee. Thank God they're not needing of this, but my aunt and uncle just went into an assisted facility. And I can tell you it's a wonderful facility, and I'm not sure how long they're going to be able to be there. They happen to be lucky. They happen to be lucky that they had insurance and they had some money put away. My parents don't. So I'm looking at, actually I do this for, I don't get paid, I just reserve rooms for my future. I've been trading off all these years with Steve, so I have a room in one of these facilities when that's getting closer. But we appreciate all the comments that everybody has made. We hope we can work with the village and your staff and to find some other opportunities where this would work better. We understand you know, what you're saying about this site.
Would you like to hear my comments?
Yes, I apologize, Mayor.
What happens if Medicare doesn't pay? I mean, that's always been an issue with the nursing homes. They're complaining that the payments are slow at the state level and everything else. Then what happens?
They always pay.
Yeah, eventually.
Maybe pay late. Well, we've been paid for June, so believe it or not, the state has paid us for June, and so July is only outstanding a few days.
That's today.
Yes, and it's we've been in this business for 15 years, and how we do our financial underwriting and create our operating capital for our properties, we have a 6 to 9 month reserve fund for Medicaid dollars, so we pull that from a loan at a bank and replace it when we get paid. So we bite that bullet one time up front, and we've worked in the Medicaid arena for over 15 years, and we embrace this program so seniors of all income levels can benefit from this service when they need it. So Medicaid's not a bad word for us.
No. I concur with the rest of the board regarding the location. It's ironic, last week I had a resident call me up who is actually walking away from her condo, was looking to try to move into the villas on McHenry Road, and she got shell-shocked by the number of assets that she needed to have to move into that facility, plus a monthly rent. Just like the Lutheran home and everything else. I mean, there's high prices of assets that are basically turned over and will take care of you for the rest of your life. And the lady doesn't have it. And she doesn't have the monthly payment to pay what she needs to pay to live comfortable. And what is she looking at? A studio apartment. Other than aches and pains and getting around, it's a little hard. She's sharp. She's 78 years old. She's a widow. And she's really got nowhere to go. So I could see the need for this in this community, because I think as the population is getting older, we're going to be faced with more and more of this. But again, the location is not what I envision this to be, and I concur with everybody regarding having one developer there doing a good job with that corner there and moving forward. But again, we need to be conscious, and I like to hear what you said, Mr. Citron, about working with our staff regarding some type of impact, because it is an impact. The more senior housing that we have in this community, the more burden it is on the core services of our fire department.
We understand that.
I see the numbers every month, and they're growing. And everybody's going to pay for that. So we need to be conscious of that, but keep the line of communication open with our staff.
Thank you.
And with our fire chief, because he's Mr. Statistics, and he's got the numbers, he knows it, and we see them. And that's what our business is now. We're an EMS business in this community, so
President.
wish you guys well.
Thank you very much.
Trustee Brady had one more.
Nice looking buildings, but we do have regulations on the amount of face brick that the building is supposed to be composed of. So take a close look at that. So we like the fact that face brick needs no maintenance other than washing it down with a hose every now and then. Thank you.
We will for sure look at all the codes, not just the face brick code, but all the codes that are needing to be followed. We've built in many towns, and we'll do what we need to do to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate the
Good luck, gentlemen. 13I.
Discussion regarding concept review of medical cannabis dispensary at 2160 Foster Avenue.
Thank you. Manager Spondelis.
Thank you. On the heels of last week's discussion on the same topic, we have a petitioner this evening looking at a building at 2160 Foster Avenue that is within the I zone. And this is very preliminary. This is new to us as of only last week, but we thought, and the petitioner requested, to come before you and seek the board's concept approval of their facility at this location. And with that, I would turn over to the petitioner.
Hi. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you. I'm Kevin Wolfberg from the law firm Shane Banks. And Mr. President, trustees, thank you very much for allowing us to come here tonight with our concept overview. Midwest Patient Resource Center is looking to put in a dispensary at 2160 Foster Avenue, which is currently zoned I-1 and a portion of it I-3, which is the zoning that we could seek a special use for a dispensary. It's within the area that the village pointed as a potential dispensary property. And I would like to point out, before I bring my team up, that we're only seeking the required special use. There's no other zoning relief or any other request for assistance. I have here tonight with me the head of Midwest Patient Resource Center, Janet Semick, who is going to give an overview of the project. Also, we have a team member, Paula Labrie, with us as well, who assisted with the real estate selection. And we look forward to gathering your feedback and comments and insight and hopefully working together on this project.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Janet Samick, and as Kevin said, I am leading a group of healthcare and business professionals that will be applying for a medical marijuana dispensary license. We have secured what we think will be a suitable location at 2160 Foster Avenue, which is zone I-1 and I-3. We understand that the place for a full plan review is during the special use application process. Tonight's concept review allows us to get guidance.
Janet, speak into the mic a little bit more, please.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Okay. Tonight's concept review allows us to get guidance on whether we should move forward with that process and to open a dialogue to ensure we address the village's concerns while we are working on our application. Midwest Patient Resource Center is a group of business and healthcare professionals. I have owned and operated several successful companies, including a medically exclusive answering service that had over 17,000 physicians as clients, along with a clinical trial recruitment call center that screened over 1 million potential volunteers. Paula Labrie, who is with me today, is the owner and president of Concept One, an established real estate firm in Park Ridge. Other members of our team include physicians, healthcare professionals, and successful entrepreneurs. I want to take a brief moment to tell you why we started Midwest Patient Resource Center. Both Paul and I are cancer survivors. When I was going through chemotherapy, I was told to go get some marijuana to offset the side effects of my treatment. And I wasn't going to go ask my husband to go out in the street and find me some random pot. However, if there was a way to procure legal medical cannabis grown under controlled conditions with known properties and effects, I would have been much more comfortable using it during my illness. When the state passed the medical cannabis pilot program, Paul and I, along with others in our group, saw the opportunity to improve the quality of life for cancer patients as well as patients suffering from other diseases. Aside from being a place where patients can procure high-quality medical cannabis, we want to be a resource where patients in the community can be educated about medical cannabis and other ways to cope with certain medical conditions. Like many businesses, location will be one of the important factors in our success. We had specific criteria in mind when we selected our building. The first, that it had to be convenient to our patient population. 2160 Foster is just southwest of the intersection of two major arteries, Wolf and Palatine Road. It is also a 15-minute walk to the Metro, allowing our employees the options of public transit. We wanted a freestanding building that had plenty of parking so that we could have total control over the location. We wanted to locate our dispensary in a town that is business-friendly. I've come to know Wheeling by attending numerous business and professional functions at the Westin, and like many other Chicagoans, enjoyed meals in many of the fine restaurants on Milwaukee Avenue. Wheeling is a town with a good reputation in the business community. And Wheeling is also forward-thinking about cannabis business. We evaluated several towns in our property search, some with less expensive real estate. Ultimately, we chose to conduct our search here because Wheeling was one of the first villages to tackle the whole issue of cannabis zoning. We feel your special use guidelines are both logical and fair, and we think that we can work with the Planning Commission, you, the Board of Trustees, and the other village stakeholders. I'm going to go a little bit about operations. While we are in an industrial area, our concept and design will be closer to the retail pharmacy model. Proposed hours will be Tuesdays through Saturday, 11 to 7, and Sundays, 12 to 6. We are partnering with one of Colorado's oldest and highly regarded dispensaries, Medicine Man of Denver, to mentor us on dispensary operations and employee training. Working together, we are creating operating procedures that serve patients in a safe and efficient manner and that minimize incidents of loss throughout our organization. Our floor plan, security plan, and operation plans will be designed to ensure the safety and security of our employees, patients, and community. Some of the features we envision in these plans include physical changes to the property. We will be adding a secure attached garage for product deliveries. Exterior lighting will be increased to meet village standards. Windows and access points will be secured, and areas that will house product and currency will be reinforced. We will have visual monitoring of the premise 24/7. Low-light, high-definition cameras will cover the property exterior, and interior video cameras will be placed in all appropriate locations. Illinois State Police will have real-time access to our video feeds, and all the captured video will be stored for a minimum of 45 days. We will hire a licensed professional security firm to be present whenever employees and patients are in the building. Because of the unique needs of our business and the rigorous compliance of the programs, procedures are being developed that clearly define access points of all areas of the dispensary for patients and staff. Of the public, only those with state-issued medical marijuana cards will be allowed in the building, and patient flow will be strictly controlled. Because the hour's late, I've kept my remarks brief, and I'm more than willing to answer any questions and flesh out any details. Once again, we want to thank President Agrius and the Village of Wheeling, your Board of Trustees, for the privilege of speaking before you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Trustee here?
Thank you. Second one in 2 weeks. Is it going to be one next week, too?
Hopefully not.
It seems like we're putting a sign out that says Wheeling, the Mecca for marijuana dispensaries. Just basically reading over this, I mean, as a retired policeman, you know, I see some gaping issues with security since it's a cash business and obviously an industrial park. Those can be redefined as you go along. And I know you've made a big point about having a live feed of the Illinois State Police, but usually videos are usually seen after the fact, after someone comes in, holds the place up, after somebody confronts somebody in the parking lot. Your security firm that you're going to hire, are they going to be armed guards, or just going to be a person wearing a shirt and walks a person out? I mean, these are issues that have to be addressed because...
We understand that, and the question of whether to arm or not to arm has been discussed, and I think that we would want to have input from the chief of police and to see their safety, their comfort level with that, but we're open to armed.
Absolutely, and then even if we go, if a real fee to the Wheeling Police Department, obviously you would have to be billed for that as well on a continuous basis, so just keep that.
We would understand that that would be part of the plan.
And the other thing that I have, all cash basis, how are you going to work with that one? Where you have all that cash, I know you're going to have the armored cars, you're going to have, but it's, people out there in the, are not stupid. They know this place has got cash, they know this place has.
Well, first of all, we're going to minimize the amount of cash that we keep on the property. I mean, based on our projections, we anticipate that we would have anywhere from $6,000 to $10,000 per day that we would be taking in, and we would be getting that off property every day because we don't want to be a sitting duck. We would be working, we're in conversations with several financial institutions, and hopefully by the time we open that we will have a place that we can, the banking regulations will change so that financial institutions will feel comfortable taking our deposits, but we don't want it sitting there. I mean, that's an invitation for trouble.
Absolutely. The other thing too is the building going to emit any type of an odor?
Not to my knowledge. Most of the product that we're going to be getting is prepackaged, and because it's prepackaged, there'll be very little processing that we're going to be doing on our end, so I don't anticipate that there'll be an issue with odor. I've been to other dispensaries in Colorado, and I've not noticed a particular odor in retail dispensaries. Occasionally, you'll see that in cultivation and production facilities, but not in retail dispensaries.
I think the location, personally, other than it's close to, a little bit close to residential, but I do like this location, and I do understand there is a need for it, so I don't think that I'm the evil one sitting up here with all these questions. How many, now that we're talking about this, since this is the second one that's approached us, so let's just say next week we get a third one, and a fourth one, and a fifth one. How many are we going to, we're only going to do one in Wheeling?
It's a race for a single license.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's not only Wheeling, the licensing district also includes Arlington Heights, it also Des Palatine, no, not Palatine, Des Park Ridge, part of some other suburbs as well.
You had that glowing
Prospect
review.
sites.
You had the glowing review about Wheeling. Have you gone to the other municipalities as well?
We looked in other municipalities. We feel the most comfortable in Wheeling.
And why is that?
Because again, evaluating the whole process, I'm one of the few folks that probably read the entire Plan Commission's conversations, as long as the Plan Commission conversations of other towns. And I liked the way that they thoughtfully went through everything, and they really discussed in detail a lot of the pros and cons, which items to take, for instance, from the Lake County Task Force, which items not to take, things like that.
Okay, at this point I have no further questions, but thank you.
Trustee Kruger, anything?
Thank you. Thank you for coming before us. Since we have another presentation to compare to, I like this one better.
Well, thank you.
I like the zone. You've at least stayed within the zone that we've designed. Staff worked very hard, as our Plan Commission did, as you've noticed, and thank you for going through all of that to understand us.
Yeah.
I am concerned, I think I asked the same question of the last petitioner, 1,000 feet from residential?
No, the act actually says it's 1,000 feet from property line of pre-existing public or private preschool or elementary school or daycare centers, all those, and it cannot be in an area zoned for residential use. Cultivation centers are the feet requirements from residential areas. Dispensing do not have the same.
Well, we've already figured that out, and this is 2160 Foster is a good place for this. So I applaud you for embarking on this brave new world.
Thank you.
And thank you for looking at Wheeling. I'm pleased with your presentation.
Thank you.
Trustee Brady?
I agree. I think it's a perfect, what we had in mind when we created that zone. It's not a heavy industrial area. It's a nice, quiet street. People go there. And the beauty part is if there were ever going to be any problems where gangs are going to start, hanging around, they'd be highly visible hanging around Foster Avenue at night, because there's nothing else goes on there at nighttime. I like the site, I like the building, and I think you guys will do a good job over there.
Thank you. And keep in mind, it's going to be very well lit as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Which
I'm sure
would
you
definitely discourage loitering.
Will you fence the property in the back?
We can look at
Security
that.
fence?
We can look at that.
Trustee Lang?
Thank you. The location looks right where we planned it to be, and I think you're going to get some pushback from the neighborhood behind you. Keep that in mind. That isn't Wheeling, but nonetheless, we still have to keep that in mind when overall plan that is a neighborhood and they are residents, and so we'll address that.
Yes.
In your future plans and work with that situation and come to an accord. Thank you.
Trustee Vogel?
I have no comments, thank you.
Trustee Hein?
It looks like a good fit. I like the location. Building looks suitable. Work with staff and see what you come up with.
Okay.
And myself, hours of operation, days?
Hours of operation again is Monday, no, we're closed on Monday, Tuesday through Saturday, 11 through 7, and then Sunday, 12 to 6.
Sunday, 12 to 6. Okay. I too believe that's probably the ideal location.
Thank you.
I really do. One thing I like you to work with staff, there is an impact regarding the extra security, working with our police department, that over and above little sales tax that we get out of this, there's got to be some type of compensation or impact fee involved with this, and maybe work with our staff. I brought this up last time, so this is new.
Yes.
And I think something can be determined between all parties involved to be fair, but to be conscious there is an additional impact on services from our end of it, ongoing, not just one time, but there will be ongoing stuff going on.
Yes.
So I'm going to ask our village clerk to do a roll call and a consensus for you guys to move forward, yes or no, and I'll ask her to go ahead and start with that.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Hare?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
President Argyros?
And myself, yes.
Just to reiterate, it's an informal
consensus to get to the next
Yes,
step.
I get that loud and
Not
clear.
open up shop tomorrow.
No, we have a lot of work ahead of us working with staff, and we understand the costs involved as well, so we'll be prepared for those.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for your
Good
time.
luck to you. Official communication. Trustee Hein, start with you.
We have some interesting things going on at the Wheeling Historical Society, and we'll be announcing some stuff after the first of the year because it's our 50th anniversary coming up, and working on a number of projects, and it's too early to divulge right now what we're doing. We're in the concept stage, but I'm looking forward to really having a good summer with the society.
Okay. That's it. Trustee Hare?
I have nothing to say, thank you.
Trustee Vogel?
Nothing to say, thank you.
Trustee Brady?
I'm fine, thank you.
Trustee Kruger?
Just quickly, I had a great time at Rockin' with the Cops last night, and looking forward to Tuesday, National Night Out. Hope it doesn't do what it did out there a minute ago. But that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Lang?
Thank you. I want to take this time again to promote the Run the Runway at Chicago Executive Airport on August 30th, Saturday. I have some cards up here as a reminder for sign-in if anyone would like some. Board members, you're very welcome to sign up. There's a 1-mile walk for you guys that can't run it. That's okay. I challenge you to run it. I challenge everyone in this room to run it. But I will certainly be, if I don't have to work it, but I'll be running it. So Sign up on Chicago or shyexec.com, and the fee is $35. You get a very nice shirt. I believe it's a long sleeve shirt, nice logo on it with the airport run and the date. And it is a timed event. There's a time chip that's very important for runners, so to keep on track with how long it takes or how short it takes. For me, how long it takes. But
And the link is active on the village's homepage as well.
it is. Thank you again.
Okay. Do we have brochures downstairs in that?
Pardon?
Do we have any of the brochures downstairs by finance and CD?
I don't know if we didn't print anything. I don't
No,
think.
the airport has some. I thought there were some down there, but
Let's double check.
yeah, I'll double check. Like I said, I have some reminder cards here if anyone would like some.
Good.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Real quick, you mentioned, or I think I read something about food trucks?
5 food trucks signed up right now of different varieties. There's some actual food and then 3 food type and 2 dessert type. And that's just present right now.
Nice.
That are signed up, ready to go. And food trucks are a pretty interesting concept, so that'll be neat to see as well. Something that we might be able to do in the future for other events.
Great.
And didn't you say that the department heads and staff are encouraged to attend?
Absolutely.
Especially those who enjoy running and especially walking? Yeah, Tone.
Not to embarrass anybody.
Bring your motorcycle.
There you go. Okay.
Bring your Harley, Tony.
There you go. Clerk Simpson.
The Wheeling Historical Society on Wednesday, August 27th at 6:30 at the Old Community Church in Chamber Park, 251 North Wolf Road. We'll be hosting Lynn Remars as she portrays Julia Childs in My Life in France. It'll be an interesting show, and there will be desserts, and it's free.
Thank you. Manders Fondelis.
Thank you. One thing this evening, just to let the board know, Superintendent Bleefernick is in the audience. We are experiencing some problems with one of the 2 compressors for the building that run the HVAC system. Wouldn't you know it, the building isn't that old, but just outside of warranty, and all the mechanical issues are starting to pop up. I bring it up only because it is not a cheap piece of equipment to replace. We're anticipating somewhere in the neighborhood of $37,000. It is an emergency, so once we get the paperwork finalized, I am going to approve it, and I will ask that you ratify it at the next meeting. I will keep you all informed, but wanted to give you a heads up at this point.
Okay. A couple things with me. Chief, you want to maybe make a little announcement regarding National Night Out for tomorrow and what's going on?
It starts at 6:30. The village board and members of the police department will be going around to all the neighborhoods participating. The neighborhoods participating are Old Town Center, Center Avenue, Tahoe, Lexington, Arlington Club,
Sand Pebble.
It's a good time. It's a lot of food, a lot of fun, games, and goes till approximately 9 o'clock at night, and we'll be hitting all the stops.
And good job with the police department last night and the village board, especially Trustee Vogel, who got all the food and got us all going there last night with the Rockin' with the Cops. That was a good time and good weather. So.
Yeah, thanks for your help.
It was wonderful. I have a question. Last time anybody from staff, and I'm sorry for bringing this up now, but I just thought of it, regarding the switching station over at Wolf and Dundee, when was the last time we had any correspondence with AT&T regarding the condition of that site? And can we reach out to them and see what we can do with that site? Especially that unused parking lot, the way it looks, and just the way that building looks. If you could, maybe get back to the manager and us and see, hey, we need to do something here. This is a 1960s building here, and it looks terrible. So if we can do something with that, I would appreciate it, and see what their intentions are. I know it's a switching station, it's a bit important piece of their infrastructure, but the way it looks is horrible. And I think with the residents here and the businesses here, AT&T is making enough money off of the community. They need to invest back a little bit. That's all I have. I entertain a motion to approve the bills for July 17th through July 30th.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Vogel, second by Trustee Hare. Roll call, please.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Hare?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
President Argyros?
Yes. We do have executive session this evening for pending, probable, and/or imminent litigation. Entertain a motion.
So move.
Second?
Motion by trustee Harris, second by trustee Kruger. Roll call.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Hare?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
President Juris?
Yes. We'll go into executive session at 8:25. Thank you.
Terry. Tell Sheila.